politicization of the politics today?
I don't have an answer for that question.
Okay.
But it is, see, Eisenhower was president, and Sam Rayburn, who I knew, was the Speaker of the House, and Lyndon Johnson was Majority Leader of the Senate. And they got along very well, and they all worked together and so forth. No one got what they wanted. Even with Reagan, we had a functioning government. So I don't know what the answer is. That's above my pay grade. Then I don't have to sort through it. Yes, sir, Russell?
What's the origin of your name, and what was your brother's name?
My father's name was Ewell Wilson, E-W-O-L. It was his mother's maiden name spelled backwards, Lau. So along the way, no one ever being able to remember Ewell Wilson, he nicknamed himself Jack. So when my older brother was born, he was named Jack Wilson. So the doctor told my parents over 84 years ago, that I would be a girl. And they did that a lot during the Depression, it turns out, in the early days. And so I surprised them by being a 12-pound boy. The doctor closed his bag and left the house. I wasn't born in a hospital. No one was born in a hospital in those days. And so there's no hospital to make you name the baby. Well, they had a girl's name picked out, lost in memory. But they said, so the first 3 or 4 days they discussed what to name the boy. At the end of the week, they're now arguing what to name the boy. 2 weeks went by. 3 weeks went by. 22 days after I was born, my father came home from work and said, why don't we name him Welcome, so he'll know he's welcome, though he's not a girl. And that's what they did, and I have no complaints. By the way, there's Welcome Jr., and if Welcome Jr. sounds like young, he's 61 years old. And there's a Welcome the Third. By the way, Welcome Jr. is my harshest critic. It's awful. The other day I made a comment about being over the hill, and he said, Senior, explain to me when you were on top of the hill. And then I came in one day and I said, welcome, have you heard my last speech? He said, I certainly hope so. But the worst came at the first. By the way, the governor replaced me on the Board of Regents with him. So, and he now is the oldest member of the Board of Regents, just like I was the oldest member. But anyway, at the first meeting, Roger Welder from Victoria, Regent, my subject to me came up somehow, and he said, well, exactly how old is Welcome Senior? And Welcome Jr. said, well, let me put it this way. He said, when Welcome Senior was a teenager, the Dead Sea was only sick.
Can you answer these in this order? What did you do to screw up with when Kennedy was in Houston? Second question is, how did a 20-some-odd-year-old get to know all the most influential people in Houston? And number 3, what's a peckerwood?
Thank you, David. All right, the first one, when the president arrived in Air Force One at the airport, the night before he was assassinated, I had told Johnny Goen to go get Ralph Yarbrough off of Air Force One and take him over and put him in the limousine with LBJ, who had arrived earlier on Air Force Two. So Johnny dutifully got Yarbrough, walked him over there, and Yarbrough opened the door for him, and Yarbrough got ready to step in, and he looked in and saw LBJ, and he said, I'm not getting in there with that SOB. And he stormed off. Next day, LBJ, that SOB, was President of the United States. And Yarbrough never recovered.
how did somebody in their twenties get to know the five most important people?
Politics. When I was in my 20s, I volunteered to raise money for elected officials. Judge Roy Hoffines was mayor of Houston. So I perceived that the finance committee was a hell of a lot better to me than putting up signs in people's yards. So I was on the finance committee. So they would say in the finance committee, they'd say, who will contact George Brown? And I'd say, I'll call George. Well, you call George's office and you say, the mayor asked me to call. And guess what? He takes the call. You say, I need to come by and see you about the campaign. Come on. So in a very short period of time, I got to know Gus Wortham. Later on, he lent me money, which I needed. Jim Elkins, all of the top leaders of Houston, Stuart Morris, only because of being involved in financial part of fundraising for political campaigns. What was the last question?
What's the Peckerwood?
In the 1850s, in Fort Bend County, and by the way, remember in Texas or in any place, everything was local. There was very little information outside of your neighborhood. But in Fort Bend County, there were two political parties. One was the Do-Nothings, and the other one was the Peckerwoods. And one of them was in favor of Texas seceding from the Union, and the other one was against it. And now I don't even remember which one it was, although I was there at the time. But that's where but the Peckerwoods was a political party in Fort Bend County. Any other questions? Yes, sir. Last question.
What are kind of your top five things or top couple of things when you look at developing a deal that kind of says, all right, green light or maybe red light?
First of all, it used to be that a real estate developer would build anything that he could finance. Right, Stuart? If you could finance it, you built it, you didn't care. And the perfect example is the Heritage Plaza downtown. Rusty Wortham had it financed, and we're going into the oil is selling it for $10 a barrel, and he starts building a 40-story office building. Harold Forbes apartment project. I told them both, I said, guys, the world is coming to an end and you're starting a huge project. And both of them said, no, we figured it out, we got the market, and by the time we open, blah, 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 and whatever. And of course, they both lost their buildings. But, but finance is the most important thing. And thank heavens in Houston, Texas, we're a lot more clever than that. But it's very sophisticated these days. For example, we dropped a contract on a building in Dallas last week, $12 million. Why? Because we were applying Houston standards. And we didn't realize that the tenant was paying $2.70 per square foot above the market. So now when his 10-year lease leaves, he's going to say, lower my rent or I'm leaving. So so it's a lot more complicated now, and the information is what everybody needs. Can I?
No, please. You told me to stand up.
Yeah.
I tell you that,
I just wanted to tell you.
yeah, if you gotta go, it's okay, but he's here for the duration, and so let's just keep on going.
I want to conclude with a story. I was at the Riverhouse Country Club about 2 weeks ago, and I ran into my old friend, Dr. Red Duke. Who knows Red Duke? Great guy, whatever. And he said, welcome, you know you're getting old when you tell your best friend that you're having an affair, and he wants to know who's catering it.
Well, thank you so much. I think we heard something special today. I don't know about y'all, but having Welcome here and Stuart and John Walsh, I mean, we got hundreds of years of experience in developing Houston itself. I mean, I'm I'm amazed. I mean, I got chills a couple times with some of the stories he said. So anyway, Cren, we're glad y'all are here. We're always looking for new members. We'd love to have some shooters. Come see us next time. If you're not on our email list, drop us a card, give me a card, and love to see you again. Let's give welcome one more hand.